You are Locked On Dolphins POSTCAST. Part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fins fans? Welcome to your Locked On Dolphins postcast. My name is Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. And yeah, there is not much I can say today to make you feel better. There's not much I can say today to even lighten the mood. There's not much I can say today to take the stink off of this one. In fact, there's nothing I can say to take the stink off of this one to make you feel better about one of the worst games the Dolphins have ever played as an organization. Awful. One of the worst halves, for sure. This is your Locked On Dolphins postcast. My name is Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. You see the headline there. From bad to worse. Look at that. From bad to worse. That's Mike McDaniel. What he's an offensive genius. How about you throw the ball to Tyreek Hill? How about you throw the ball to Tyreek Hill? All right, I digress. No, I don't. How about you throw the ball to Tyreek Hill? And Jalen Waddle, what do you have? One catch. This is your Locked On Dolphins postcast. My name is Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. A terrible loss on the road today. You go to 2-4. Tyler Huntley gets hurt. It has been a disaster of a season at the quarterback position. It's been a disaster of a season overall for Miami. So many huge expectations coming in, and it is not panning out whatsoever. Today, they were running the ball down the throats of the Indianapolis Colts. They fumbled the ball away 2 times. And then they can't make a tackle late in the game. The quarterback position was set back 100 years in this game with these guys. Unbelievable. Anyway, Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, Locked On Dolphins postcast. Thank you for making us your first watch/listen today. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's show is brought to you by, that's right, Hillsdale is unbelievable. Absolutely crazy when you think about it. There it is. Today's episode brought to you by Hillsdale College. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started at Hillsdale College. As we get it going on your Sunday, Locked On Dolphins postcast, Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, and it has been, no luck, all hustle, right? There was a lot of hustle by the Indianapolis Colts in the second half. And the thing that gets me about this game, right? Look, overall, Miami came into this game with Huntley playing quarterback. Thompson's hurt. Tua, and at least we have a target date on Tua. We'll get more of that a little bit later. But now you get more injuries and just more things happen. But you started this game off pretty well. Tyler Huntley with a TD pass. Jonnu Smith, 11-play, 58-yard drive. You know what I'm saying? You get Jason Sanders with a made field goal on a 65-yard drive in the second quarter. Defense playing really well. No Taylor for Indy. And the running game's going nowhere, right? So then you put it in the hands of Richardson, who's terrible. At one point, he's 8 for 21 in this game. Absolutely terrible. Terrible. He's a terrible quarterback. He's an absolutely terrible quarterback. And Miami's defense, obviously made some plays in this game. And you could point to 1,000 things in this game. You can talk about the field goal before the end of the half, at the gun by Indianapolis that was set up by the big pass play that never should have happened. You're in prevent defense, and he's wide open in between the safety and the corner. The linebacker can't. It should never happen. That field goal should never have happened. And then they come out right away in the third quarter, and you get the 7-yard touchdown run after Miami's fumble at the 16-yard line, man. The Colts fumbled on the way in. The Dolphins fumbled. And it's terrible, man. It was an awful display of quarterback play. It was an awful display of football, really, when you think about it, all the way across the board. Just not a good game. Not a good situation for Miami. Not a good situation. You force the punt on Indy's first drive of the game. You know what I mean? And Richardson can't play quarterback. I don't know what they're doing. They're running him. They should have just moved him to running back and brought Flacco in. That's the talk in Indy right now. The best quarterback in the stadium today was Joe Flacco, by far. Tua or Flacco, who would you take? I take Tua. But what I'm saying is, was Tua there? Tua was there. But what I'm saying is Flacco is, look, he's 2-0 for the Colts. He put up 27 points a game, and they can't Richardson. This is not a Colts show, thank God. But the Dolphins punt, the Colts punt, and then Miami goes on an 11-play, 58-yard drive, and Achane is running the ball well. Mostert, who fumbled, you know what I mean? It ended up being a disaster, but they were running the ball well. It's 10-0 at halftime. Nothing phenomenal, but, you punt it away on your first drive of the second half, then Indy punts it away, right? Mostert fumbles. You're almost at midfield. You're almost moving the ball at will. Next drive out, Indy scores the touchdown. Goodson 7 yards, and it's 10-10. Game's tied, right? Because you gave them that field goal at the end of the half. On the pass play, they had time for one play, and they get that pass play. I mean, there's just too much to talk about in this game. And then the Dolphins fumble again. Ingold fumbles this time. I mean, loses 2 on the play, fumbles the ball. Fumbles the ball. It's 10-10 at that point. Indy punts, 3 and out. Defense does their job. You go 3 and out. 12 plays, 69 yards. They get a field goal. Nice stop on 3rd and 4. Good pressure on him at times in this game. I thought the defense played reasonably well. Then you missed that field goal off the upright. It's 13-10 at the time. It would have tied the game. And, it's just it's easy to get negative. It's easy to get ticked off. It's easy to sit here and point out everything that they did wrong. 3rd and 1. Ingold gets no gain. 4th and 1 at the 36. You kick a 54-yarder. I mean, at that point in time, how much time's left in the game? 5:19. You're going to kill McDaniel for kicking there? I'm not. I mean, I think it was a good choice. Sanders is about the best player you have offensively right now. I mean, without Tyreek Hill getting the ball. We're going to get to that in a minute. We haven't even started yet. Locked On Dolphins Postcast. We haven't even started yet. We haven't even started on all these guys who run sub 4.40s and they're not getting the ball. Now, Mostert and Achane and Jalen Wright, flashes. The running game looking good. The offensive line opening up big holes. The fumble killing them. It happens, right? 2 fumbles lost, and that's the game. You miss the field goal. You lose the 2 fumbles. You give up the field goal right before halftime. There's your game. The NFL is not complicated, guys. The NFL is not complicated. It comes down to a couple of things. Who wins the games within the games? And we'll get to the stats momentarily. Who wins the rushing yards, the passing yards, the turnover battle, the penalties, the time of possession, all the little games within the game. Who wins those? Dolphins were winning those easily in this game, and they gave them away. Because when you turn the ball over like they did, and when you miss a field goal like they did, and when you give up a late field goal on a big pass play like they did, those things kill you. You could dominate the whole game. You could outperform a team from gun to gun. It doesn't matter when you do things like that. It doesn't matter, then the Dolphins turn it over on downs on their last drive. They're at the Indianapolis 33-yard line. I mean, they had chance after chance after chance. And to be honest with you, I mean, look, Tua's out, Skyler's hurt, and you bring in Huntley, and Huntley's playing. And, he's the guy's 7 of 13 for 87 yards, man, and a touchdown. And then Boyle comes in, Tim Boyle, after Huntley gets hurt. He's 8 of 13 for 74. They didn't play bad. Look, Tyler Huntley and Tim Boyle are not the problem with this team right now. They're NFL quarterbacks. Huntley on the play that got hurt, it was a terrible play. The pocket didn't even collapse. He bailed on the pocket and literally ran to the side of his offensive lineman. Instead of cutting it back in, he runs outside, and he was blocking him on his outside shoulder. How do you not come on. How do you not recognize that, bro? How do you not? But Achane was good. Mostert, I thought, was good, man. The running game, Jalen Wright, 6 yards a carry. Even Tyler Huntley, 5 for 20. Jonnu Smith had a good game today. Really good game. Aside from that, man, Tyreek Hill had 1 for 8. Odell Beckham Jr. had none. 2 targets. Man, how about Tyreek Hill, 1 catch for 8 yards. Malik Washington had 2 for 9. Jalen Waddle, 1 for 11. 2 for 19 yards for Hill and Waddle. They've caught 33 touchdowns since 2022 with the Dolphins. Hill and Waddle, all of them from Tua. When Tua's out, they haven't caught a thing. They couldn't catch a cold right now. It's unbelievable. I don't know what we're watching here, what we're seeing. The defense, I mean, if you're looking at the stats of the game, the third down, both teams stink. Both teams are terrible. I mean, this was not a good game, right? Miami outgained Indy by almost 100 yards, a little shy of 100. Maybe about 60 yards, actually, 16 and 40, about 60 yards. Yards per play, passing yards more, rushing yards for sure. 188 yards rushing. That's a good game for Miami on the ground. Penalties, 6 for 50, 4 for 25. Turnovers, 2-1. Time of possession, Miami won. They should not have lost this game. This was absolutely terrible. We have a target date from Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah. I mean, obviously he's coming back and he wants to play, and we'll get into that in the rest of the show. Huntley hurt and Boyle comes in. But again, Huntley and Boyle, I mean, they weren't bad. They weren't bad, you know. They weren't good, but they weren't bad. And Richardson stinks. This was a terrible loss. They had to have won this game. It's a conference game on top of it. And they just showed up and they did not get the job done. They played very well in the first half. In the second half, they just went right down the tubes. You're watching your Locked On Dolphins postcast. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. Really pumped to have you with us here today on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day still to come. Defenseless. The defense in the second half not getting it done offensively. I mean, you ran the ball great, but you turned it over a couple times, and that'll get you. We're going to talk about that on the other side. Locked On Dolphins postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And I am very happy to talk to you about my friends at BetterHelp, right? This show episode of Locked On Dolphins Postcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. And I will tell you what, it really is an outstanding thing to do for yourself when you take care of yourself. Self-love is number one. Number one is self-love, right? Enforcing those boundaries, taking care of yourself day in, day out. You're working out. You got the mind right. You got the body right. Well, what about your spirit? What about your mind? What about mental health? What's something that scares you? I'm scared of a lot of things in this life. Most of them have to do with my kids, my future, things like that. Halloween lets us have fun with things that scare us, but what about those fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts? Well, therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them, because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing your fears in the first place, holding ourselves back. You know what? I benefited from therapy my entire life. As a kid, I went. My biological dad left before I was born. I was adopted. I was abused. I was abandoned. I had a tough childhood. You know what I'm saying? Therapy was a big part of it, and as an adult, coming to grips with it, coming to terms with it, living my best life, therapy has been a huge, huge part of it. And if you, my friend, are thinking of starting therapy, as all of us should do, we should all have some help. Talk to someone who's not, doesn't have a dog in the fight, not a part of our lives, someone who just can give us objective advice. They're educated. They know what they're doing. Yeah. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. New World's amazing, right? Designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime at no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockdown today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockdown on the Locked On Podcast Network. And another new sponsor here on the network. We just bring them to you day in and day out. You're getting better every time you listen to a commercial and watch a commercial here on the show. Time is our most precious commodity, so do not waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Easy. Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, offering more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses, 40 of them free, including just a few of the courses available. Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution. Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism with the election coming up, right? Interesting. Very interesting. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can get deeper with readings, and, of course, quizzes, discussions, all kinds of things, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockdown to enroll. There's no cost. Again, I repeat, no cost. And it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockdown to register. hillsdale.edu/lockdown. Hillsdale College on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Dolphins postcast, Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. 16-10, the Colts win. Miami, 7 points in the first, 3 in the second. They're up 10-3 at halftime. The Colts get the garbage field goal on the stupid pass play. Oh, my Lord. How many yards was that pass play? I got to look this up. This was, when was it? It was all plays where we are right there. 4 plays, 36 yards. The pass play on a 2nd and 10 from their own 30-yard line with 22 seconds left. You allow them to go deep down the field, and they go incomplete. 16 seconds left. deep middle to Michael Pittman Jr. I used to cover his dad with the Cardinals. Michael Pittman Jr., 33-yard play with 16 seconds left. 16 seconds left. They let him go 33 yards. Boom, they kick a field goal at the gun, 52 yards. That field goal made. Miami's field goal missed. 6-point swing between the two. Therein lies your difference in the game. You throw in the 2 fumbles. Miami should have won this game easily. They should have won this game easily. No challenge. Nothing. I mean, I'm looking at the team stats, and I already broke those down for you. But what about the box score, man? What about this game? Because Miami was 7 points in the first quarter. Look, Tyler Huntley and Tim Boyle, 7 of 13, 8 of 13. So that's 15 of 26 for what? 161 and a touchdown, no picks, no fumbles. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, those guys weren't the problem in this game. Braxton Berrios got hurt in a punt return, launching himself into a couple of guys. No interceptions in this game. Where's the fumbles? Absolutely awful. There they are. Mostert and Ingold each lost one. And Miami recovered one, by the way. No production from Hill or Waddle. Nothing. 2 fumbles, no production from Hill or Waddle. The big pass play in the field goal at the end of the half, along with the missed field goal. I mean, you're getting the point here. You're getting the point. I'm repeating myself because it's just god-awful. Running the ball, 15 for 77 for Achane. Mostert, 11 for 50. Wright, 5 for 33. That's good. That's really good, man. Tyreek Hill, they tried to get him the ball. 1 carry, 5 yards. But Jonnu Smith, 7 for 96 and a touchdown. Big game. Targeted 7 times. Look, when you have a crappy quarterback, second string, third string, the tight end's the whoopee, the security blanket. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened there. It's exactly what happened there. And it was difficult to get anything going. But I mean, when Ingold has 1 catch for 25 yards and he's your second leading receiver, Jalen Waddle 1 for 11 in the fourth quarter, 2 targets total in the game, 2 for Waddle. Malik Washington 2 for 9, long of 7 yards, 3 targets. Tyreek Hill was targeted twice. Jalen Waddle targeted twice. You're telling me in a 60-minute football game. You're telling me in a 60-minute football game, and I don't care who your quarterback is. This is the NFL. You target Tyreek Hill twice. You target Jalen Waddle twice. It's time to look at the scheme. It's time to look at the system. It's time to try to figure out how come, and look, Huntley's back there. The pocket collapses. He's getting hit. A couple times the pocket's not even collapsing. He's moving out. He's running right into defenders. Look, there's levels to this. There's no doubt. I'm looking at all the TVs. I'm watching all the games at once, and I'm watching Josh Allen and Sam Darnold and Jordan Love and Jared Goff. Average NFL quarterbacks complete, and not Allen. Allen's great, but complete pass after pass after pass. I'm watching the Cleveland Browns, and Deshaun Watson was 15 for 17. I'm watching Joe Burrow put on a clinic. And then in this game, I'm watching. And look, the worst quarterback on the field was Anthony Richardson. 10 of 24 for 129, no interceptions, no touchdowns. 14 for 56 on the ground. Where's Joe Flacco? Maybe the Dolphins should have signed him off the Colts right then and there. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just a bad game for Miami all the way across the board. Defensively, I thought they played pretty well. Poyer was good again today. Fuller, Brooks, Campbell, Calais, 3 tackles for a loss, defying father time. Chop Robinson continues to give him nothing. You wonder why the Dolphins didn't draft a quarterback with Tua. Tua's a fragile dude. With the concussions, with the injuries, he's a fragile dude. He's not a big, strong, hulky guy. He's not. He's a fragile dude. I always feel like they should be upgrading that position. They put a lot of faith in Tua, paid him a ton of money, paid all the weapons. It's not working out. You're not getting the ball to those playmakers without Tua in there. When we pick it up on the other side, we'll talk more about Tua and the possible comeback and the target date and everything that he's got going on. But it's game after game after game of just complete ineptitude now on the offensive side of the football. And this season has been completely derailed. They're 2-4. It's not all lost. Their lucky ATM gifted them that fumble in the Jaguars game. They could win the opener. Patriots, I mean, good Lord, they win that game on the road. They should have won this one today, without a doubt. The Titans game, they got smoked. The Seahawks and Bills smoked them. No chance in any of those games. Even with Tua, they were not an elite team. The offensive line can't block. The defense fades in the second half, gets gashed every single game by teams that have no business gashing. This is your Miami Dolphins 2024 season. And after the Marlins did what they did, you get this now. You know what? I want to talk about on the other side, how they can get this thing back on track. When is Tua coming back? Let's talk about that on the other side. You got the Cardinals coming up. A home game next week. It's Miami FSU. We do the The Hurricanes show too. The Heat start their season this week. So a lot of the attention will be deflected off the Dolphins. But this is a stink pot right now. I mean, the Bills, Seahawks, Titans, you got off the schneid last game. You had the bye. They came out strong today. Huntley looked pretty good. The run game was on fire. The offensive line looked confident. The fumbles killed them. The field goal at the end of the half, the missed field goal, the fumbles, you got beat by a team with a quarterback who went 10 for 24. 10 for 24. He didn't even want to be there. He doesn't have any enthusiasm, no fire. I'd bench his ass right now if I were the Colts. But he beat you. He beat you. He beat your team. Huntley and Boyle deserve better. Honestly speaking, Huntley and Boyle deserve better. And the defense, even though they got gashed late, so to say they deserve better is kind of tough because they did get gashed late. They did. You're watching your Locked On Dolphins postcast. What can happen to turn this season around? We hit that on the other side. On the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. Sticking around. To tell you NFL fans, you can keep the season going with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, you can view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page right there where you place your bets. That's right, you'll get started with $200 also in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. I don't even know if the fans are really feeling it right now with this team. Absolute disgrace. I don't even have the graphics done. And why would I, man? Like, it's who are you going to put in for player of the game, the final score? I mean, like why even bother? Why even bother, man? Like, it just is, it's unbelievable. When you talk about your quarterbacks actually played well today. They did. They really did. I'm doing the graphics right now as we speak. There we go. Unbelievable, man. I mean, really, when you think about it, just absolutely unbelievable how bad this was. It was bad. It was bad. The moment. What was the moment of this game? What do you guys think? Anybody in the chat want to hit me up? Let me know. The moment of this game where it slipped away. Slip, slide, and away. Was it when Huntley got hurt? I mean, I thought Boyle played all right. Yeah, it was the fumbles. Nope, that's not it. It was the fumbles. Where are we at? There we go. Nope, that's Malik. We'll get this done. We got this. We got this. Who's the star of the game today? Who would actually, would anybody be the star of the game? Would it be Mike McDaniel for actually even just showing up? But when you're an offensive genius and you're not getting the ball to Tyreek Hill, are you really an offensive genius? Who was the star of the game today? Was there a star of the game? There's one for the Dolphins, and we'll make that happen. Yeah, there's one dude from Miami that we have to recognize. He played a great game, so we'll get him in a minute. And then the actual turning point, I think it was maybe the field goal before halftime. I don't know. What would it be? What would it be? I'm working on that right now. And the moment of the game, wow, I mean, that's just tough. Like, what do you do? How do you pick a moment of this game where it really turned? I think it was the fumble. It had to have been the fumble. Mostert's fumble is what really did it. They were almost at midfield. They were driving. You know what I'm saying? So that fumble was probably a real big turning point in the game. And we're going to give you what we think the Dolphins can do to turn things around momentarily. Let me first, because we got some baseball tonight too, some big games coming your way. The World Series, Yankees in. Maybe the Dodgers join them tonight. Man, it's just hard watching the Dolphins fumble away these games. It really is hard. I mean, yeah, Mostert's fumble. Where's the fumble? We got to find the fumble. There we go. Where is the fumble? Anthony Richardson played terrible today. I mean, he couldn't be any worse if he tried. And just an awful, awful display by Miami today. Across the board, man. I'm looking for this fumble to show you guys right here from Mostert. That was literally the turning point of the game. And not a good one for Miami, to say the least. Yeah, there's not much to show the turning point here. There you go. Homeboy missed the field goal. That's a good one. It just was a sloppy game. It set football back years. It actually really did. It set football back years. On a day when Indy, there it is. Okay, Mostert with the fumble. Got it. Got this one. Okay. Got it. See that? Where there's a will, there's a way, and we got you here. We got you. Where we at? There we go. And boom. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. We're live as we go here. And there's the turning point right there. And yeah. All right. And we got these coming your way, guys. They're right here. And let's see. Where are we at? All right. Live production. You got to love it. Okay, so we download these and we bring them in for you. And then we hit those, and then we hit the future for Miami with Tua and the possible comeback and all that. So we'll see. And hopefully Tua comes back sooner than later. Wants to come back to practice on Wednesday, which is, look, Tua, I guess he's all right. He's passed everything, and you hope that he has, because, that was a nasty injury, a nasty concussion, trying to get his team. And look, let's not forget Tua trying to get his team fired up in the midst of a blowout loss to the Bills, picks up a fourth down, easy first down, and then goes headfirst into a safety, trying to fire his team up, making a football play, fire the crowd up. And, it didn't end up working because it got him hurt. And he's been out ever since. Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'll hit that in a minute. But first, let's look at the final score graphic for you. 16-10, the Indianapolis Colts with the victory over Miami. The Dolphins did not score in the second half. Terrible, terrible performance by Miami. They're outscored 13-zip in the second half. What a performance. Was a lot better in the first half. So there you see the Indianapolis Colts having their way with Miami and punching the ball into the end zone with Tyler Goodson, who ran it in from 7 yards. He had 14 carries, 51 yards, and the touchdown with a long of 19. So there you have your final score. Next up, we have the moments. These are the moments. There you see the ball being pulled loose. Yeah, Mostert fumbled that ball, and that was a big one. And that was a huge drive for Miami. It was a play where, look, it was the first play of a drive. Indy had just gone 3 and out. You got the ball almost midfield. He runs it 7 yards. You had been running the ball really well. It's the third quarter. You're just getting going, and he fumbles the ball away. And then later on, boom, Ingold fumbles it away too. So the 2 fumbles from your running backs literally cost you the game today, and that was the fumble for Mostert right there. And then we have your star of the game, Jonnu Smith. He had a big game, actually. He had a really big game for Miami. I'm encouraged by him. I thought that they should have gotten the ball more when Tua was playing. 7 for 96, long of 18, and the touchdown for Jonnu. Your star of the game. The one Miami Dolphins, Calais Campbell had a good game. Jalen Ramsey had a couple of sacks on the blitz. Not bad, right? Not bad. All right, so Tua Tagovailoa is going to practice next week, wants to play against the Cardinals. And he was in the concussion protocol, the provisions, the return to play, and, that'll determine whether he can come back or not. But he wants to attempt to return to playing football. No longer a question for him. Look, he ran into the safety. His arms are flailing, and, there's a lot of concern out there for him. He's been visiting with the best neurologist, Pittsburgh. Doctors haven't told him anything strongly enough to make him change his mind. Look, it's been a part of his life since childhood. He's got a big contract, But new doctors, the same ones as before. Sources saying he's 100% playing. He's insisted that he's felt fine. 26 years old, $200+ million. Sat out his 4th game today. Does he come back against Arizona? You got to start winning these games. Skylar Thompson, Tyler Huntley. Good Lord, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you end up today with Tim Boyle. He's an accountant. He sounds like an accountant or a doctor. The week 6 bye. helped Huntley a lot coming into this game today, but not enough. So if Tua can come back, you're not getting the ball to Tyreek Hill. You're not getting the ball to Jalen Waddle. You're going to put all that on Thompson. You're going to put all that on Huntley. You're going to put all that on Boyle. I don't see that. I don't see that. How are you going to – the offensive line is getting people killed. The offensive line has been a liability all year long. In the run game, they're starting to really pick it up. They really have a good run game. If they run the ball first and play off of the run game, they're looking good. Figure out a way to get Tyreek Hill the ball. Figure out a way to get Jalen Waddle the ball. You're 2-4. All's not lost. You got the Cardinals, then you're at the Bills. You're going to get smoked there. You got the Rams. That's a winnable game, although it's on the road. Raiders at home. Patriots at home, right? So maybe the Bills in there, but Cardinals, Rams, Raiders, Patriots, you could win 4 out of 5, man. You could win 4 out of 5 if Tua's coming back. And then later on down the year, you got the Jets a couple times. You got the Texans and the Packers on the road. So you got some tough games. At the Jets, at the Browns. You got the Niners. So this is looking like a season that could be lost very quickly if things don't turn around fast. And that's the way it's been for your Miami Dolphins. That's all there is, Fins fans. There is no more. Locked On Dolphins Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We'll be back next Sunday when the Dolphins play the Cardinals. Also on Saturday, Miami FSU. Miami FSU, baby. 7-0. All on the line in the rivalry game. The Heat start this coming Wednesday. Locked On Heat Postcast as well. And again, I said it, but I'll wrap it, start it, and finish it. Start to finish. Miami Dolphins. Cardinals next week. We're here right after the game. Thank you for making Locked On Dolphins Postcast your first listen today. Now for your second listen, go find new Locked On NFL now with 2 shows every day. First, it's the madman, Tyler Rowland. He kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso. And then stop by the barbershop. Who doesn't love the barbershop? With Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. There you have it. 16-10, the Colts beat the Dolphins. They're shut out in the second half. Huntley gets hurt. You finished with Tim Boyle, and they were the best players on the field besides Jonnu Smith for the Dolphins today. The running backs look good, but they put the ball on the ground twice, and you miss a field goal and lose the game. This one hurts. This one stings. There's no way around it. You're not going to get it back. It's going to come back to bite you. You got to deal with it and hope you move on from here. Tua coming back to practice. Maybe he plays next week. We shall see. Locked On Dolphins Postcast. And don't forget, Locked On Dolphins every day with Kyle Krabs right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Until next Sunday, Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease at Jim Grease _ on social media, reminding you to always keep your game tight and your mind right, Fin fans. We are